So what are we talking about today? Well, in part, we're going to talk about every artist's favorite program, Microsoft Excel. Yes, we are actually going to talk about Microsoft Excel a little bit. Not a lot, but it's an important part of my process. As usual, this disclaimer could apply to all of my videos. This is my process. Everybody's process is different. I show it just to show people how I do my work, and maybe to give them ideas about how they want to do their work. It's not the rule. It's not even necessarily the best way. It's the best way for me. It's the way that works for me. To compensate for the fact that we'll spend a little bit of time looking at a spreadsheet, I'm going to try and make this video very visual and very interesting to watch and listen to in spite of Microsoft Excel. We'll see how successful I am. So to recap where we are with DvsM 1979 so far, I have a script, and now I have thumbnails, which are, remember, really crude, chicken scratchy drawings of every panel that will be in the comic book. My next step is to take those thumbnails and plug them all into Excel in the form of a list with a lot of information and details. There are a few reasons I do this. Most of all, it's two things. One, so I have a quick and easy to reference list to start doing my page planning. Two, to quickly start visualizing what sorts of references or assets or extra legwork I might need to do for a panel in question. Now, I don't want to use DvsM 1979 to walk you through examples of this because it would be very spoilery. So instead, I'm going to use a blast from the past, DvsM 1975, to show you what I mean, to walk you through it. Okay? Here we go. So as a little case study for this, we're going to look at an important big scene from DvsM 1975, the first time we set eyes on a real live alien. What you see here is the original script for DvsM 1975, with that scene in particular. You can see how it originally read, which is slightly different from the finished version, which if you've watched the last video you'll know is pretty typical, as you're going through different versions of your story, first written, then thumbnails, then page layouts, then actually drawing for real, it continues to evolve and refine, and there are little, and sometimes not so little, shifts. Here is the thumbnail version of that sequence. This is another good example of garbage drawings. You can see how crude I actually draw these. I do not spend a lot of time. It's not important for them to look good. They just need to help me break down how many pictures do I need to depict a sequence of events. Period. No more, no less. So, very crude. So here's my Excel file. All I did was go through my thumbnails and make a list. Panel number, description of what would be in the panel with the dialogue, and then some other information. What other information? Well, first let's talk about right here, reference needs. These are little notes to myself, things that I might want on hand to do my drawing. Maybe I'll want photographs of someone standing in for a character so I can get real life figure reference. Maybe I need a physical object and I want to be able to look at it while I'm drawing. Maybe I want to look at a SketchUp model I created of the set. Who knows? It's just whatever I might be needing when I'm drawing, I'm going to list in my reference needs. To the right of that is just other miscellaneous notes. So for example, panel 111, we have some aliens being shot. That's where I was thinking maybe I want one of them uttering something while that's happening. So I need to come up with an alien language. More importantly, and this is a sneak preview of what we'll be talking about probably in the next video, if you look at panel 109, I have the note, first panel after a page turn. Now, if you've watched my past videos, you know I bang on and on and on about page turns, the importance of page turns, and thinking about what order a reader is reading things, and more importantly, what order they're seeing things. You want your big reveals, your big surprises, your big flashy moments to be something they see when they turn the page, first thing. Not a little bit later, like on the right side of a 2-page spread, where they can accidentally read ahead and see surprises coming. I knew seeing the aliens for the first time should be a big deal. I knew, therefore, that should be something where you turn a page and boom, you're looking at aliens. So I've made a note in the notes, first panel after a page turn. It's going to be the first thing you see after turning the page. So then if you look at that and go all the way to the left, you see right, left, this is it the right or left side of a 2-page spread? Now normally I don't know that until I start laying out pages, but I know that one will have to be on the left side of a 2-page spread because it's after a page turn. Does that make sense? I will need that information, which panels are the first panel after a page turn, when I start doing my page layouts. Because I need to plan that. I need to figure out, okay, well, if I need to turn the page and see panel 109, that means these panels are going to end up being on the right side of a 2-page spread. This means the following panels are going to be on this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I need to know those big, spectacular moments to start figuring out how my comic is paced. If you want more information on that, I encourage you to go and dig up my videos on DvsM 1975 and DvsM 1997, talking about page turns, page planning, etc. I go into a little bit more detail. To me, it's a very important part of comic design, and sometimes a neglected part of it. So you probably have a pretty good idea what we're going to talk about next time. We're going to go through my spreadsheet of DvsM 1979 in a spoiler-free way and start figuring out what are my big moments, therefore where are my page turns, therefore how do we pace the whole rest of the comic around those moments. Okay? Other than that, I don't have much today, a little short video. I just wanted to point out that I am officially sold out of the Pulp edition of DvsM 1997, which is awesome. Took a little bit less than a week, which is fantastic. Right now, that means we are completely sold out of DvsM comics. There will be a reprint of both 75 and 97, not the Pulp versions, because like I said, these are limited. They're gone forever. You're never going to see these again. What you're going to have instead are the original covers, or probably, more likely, a slightly gussied up version of the original covers. I swear to God I'm not doing this to milk collectors. I promise. I wouldn't do that. All it is when I did the original cover for 1975, I was just starting out. I'd never done a comic before. I'd never done a cover before. I had a fuzzy idea of what I wanted, and I executed it, and I didn't spend a lot of time on it. And in the years since, I keep looking at that and feeling like this was more of a version 1 when I needed like a version 3. 97 sort of has the same problem because 97's cover was based on the look of 75's. The gussied up versions will not look significantly different. They'll just be, think of it like a special edition, George Lucas special edition version of the covers. Basically the same. But for people who really want to look, or really take a moment to stare at it, they'll see there are little tweaks and polishes just to make it a slightly better iteration of the original idea. When is that going to happen? Honestly, I'm in no hurry. My feeling right now is that everybody who wants to read a DvsM has a DvsM. That being said, I don't want to leave it all out of stock for months and months and years. Like, I'm not going to do that. So I'm kind of hoping to place the reorders sometime before the end of this year. So sometime in the next few months, there'll be a small restock of 75 and 97 with the George Lucas Special Edition cover, original covers. Okay? That's all I've got today. Oh, one other thing. This is a audio video thing, but just to give you a peek behind the curtain. So I have a new fancy microphone. The problem with the new fancy microphone, which is driving me hopefully more crazy than it's driving you, is it picks up a lot of mouth noise. And it kind of drives me crazy. I do my best when I'm editing these videos to null that out and remove it. But I'm going to figure out a solution so I don't have to deal with it anymore. I hope that's not irritating you. It's definitely irritating me, but I'm neurotic and obsessive and a perfectionist, and, you know, of course it's going to bother me. Anyway, but that's why. If you're noticing it, maybe I shouldn't even call attention to it, but if you're noticing it, that's why. On the plus side, with this microphone, I totally could start my second career in ASMR. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing well. Is that creepy and weird? I'll never do that again, I promise. I'm so sorry. I hope this doesn't hurt our relationship. I hope we can move past this.